and the logic that the government's given in terms of how supply side interventions and the trickle down effect are perhaps better than demand side interventions in terms of direct transfers, given that we've had a very harsh lockdown. It's been one of the most extended in terms of lockdowns around the world. How does that logic play out?
I haven't seen that logic from government. I wish I'd seen it. I haven't seen the logic you mentioned, Anil. I haven't seen the government saying, firstly, there are no supply side interventions. There are credit interventions and credit subventions and credit facilitations. And there are some welfare and relief measures and some promises about stuff being done in the future and beekeeping. But I haven't seen any argument from anybody, not the chief economic advisor, not the prime minister's office, not Niti Aayog, that this is the package that says supply side interventions will take us out of this crisis and not demand side. If that were the quality of argument coming out of government, I'd be far less worried than I'm now.
Dr. Rai, how difficult is it for the government to raise finances? In one of the interviews to Indian Express, I think, which was very widely appreciated, you talked about, there are ways to raise money without having necessarily to borrow the whole amount and show it as fiscal deficit, because that was also a worry which played out in the government's minds, probably about how rating agencies would react to government borrowing excessively, because we are already S&P has rated us as BBB minus, which is just one notch above the speculative grade. So, but you did tell us about how you can raise funds. Can you share that with us, like in terms of without what would be the avenues how government raise funds?
Well, that course has bolted to an extent because government has chosen its path. But some of the things that I said the government is trying to do, I notice. One of the things you could do is, you see, government spends money very badly. And as a consequence of government spending money very badly, there's a lot of money that the government says on the books it has spent, both central and state. They actually haven't been spent. They're lying in some bank account or the other. There's something called the PFLS, which keeps an eye on this. It's a very good mechanism. It's not perfect, but it's good. So my estimate was that you could get about 400 billion rupees clawed back from these unspent balances lying here and there. Not doing anything, just idle balances. Result of inefficiency past. I noticed that the new expenditure secretary has started doing that, but obviously what I proposed was a macroeconomic measure, which the government has not seen fit to do, which is to use these balances to give money to the state governments who are at the front line of spending by opening what is called a zero interest WMA window. Let me explain that to folks who don't know this. So, like anybody, like any of us, in a year, the taxes that government gets, the revenues that government gets, comes towards the second half of the year. When people make their money, then they pay taxes. Similarly, the borrowing that government does, the government tries to borrow as little as possible in the first half of the year. Spending also happens, however, quite regularly. Salaries have to be paid, etc. There's something called a ways and means advance, which the government of India can get from, and the state governments can get from the Reserve Bank of India, where they borrow money at the beginning of the financial year or during a financial year, and then they return it by the end of the financial year. So my proposition was now normally the RBI charges interest on this, but that interest doesn't matter to government of India. It can be whatever you like, because the interest on a ways and means advance accrues to RBI as RBI profits. So then it can be passed on back to government as RBI dividend, or it is retained by RBI for use by government on a future date. The state governments have to pay for it. That is why I said, if you make it a zero interest window, which the state governments can access over an 11-month period, and then you extinguish that window by reclaiming these idle balances over an 11-month period. You don't do it tomorrow, but you can make money available today. That would give you quite a bit of money. 400 billion rupees is not small. And then I suggested that since we are borrowing for a specific purpose, and everybody knows that this borrowing cannot be repaid immediately or even a part of it, let us do what countries in this situation have done before this. Today, France and Germany announced something along the lines of what I'm saying. They're not identical. Mine is a little more warlike, which is issue something called a consol, which is a bond on which people will be given a very attractive rate of interest But the payment of this console, the calendar for that will not be announced now. It will be told that, let's say, from fiscal year 2023 or 2024, we will announce in tranches how much you can get back. But we pay you a very generous rate of interest. This is attractive to a lot of people who are probably listening to this program, because what they are not doing is spending money. They feel bad that they don't have income earning opportunities because real estate is going to be in trouble, mutual funds are going to be in trouble. So this gives you an assured stream of income until this crisis is over and for some time after that, for money that anyway you're not spending. It's called precautionary saving. And you could mobilize, I think, 3 or 4% of GDP from that. So financing was not the problem, but I did give, and the rating agencies, I assure you, sir, will rate every country in this particular odd year, in this very different year, not on the basis of traditional metrics, but on the basis of the way and how capably they have managed to address and finish the pandemic and address and minimize the economic consequences of the pandemic. Not by looking at individual algorithms, because then everybody's in the same boat. So what are they going to judge?
True.
So the rating agency argument apart, what government needed to do was start spending money. I'm saying the horse has bolted because it's now been 4 months and nothing has happened. But if government had started spending money, I'd be cautious, and maybe here is why government didn't spend it. Because the money that you so borrow has to be spent for the purposes intended. If government is not confident that it can do that, and our track record is not one of doing it well, then you should not spend the money, because then you will get inflation hotspots, etc. So maybe the government has decided that its own execution capability is so demonstrably weak. And we started this conversation by talking about the fact that despite all this noise about Jan Dhan and Aadhaar and mobile, now they're making excuses about not able to identify people just because they're moving. So if it's so weak, then maybe it is best not to go down that route, and maybe therefore the government has chosen the path of fiscal prudence that a weak state would choose. I don't know, but it's possible. And it's perfectly rational for a weak state not to try and spend more money when track record shows it can't.
The government hasn't really spent, but we also don't know. The government kind of is not even willing to hazard a guess on where the economy is headed, because the finance minister did tell us in an interview that it will be too early for her to make any estimates of the economy of growth in the current year. She wouldn't want to hazard a guess. Given these uncertainties in mind, we don't even know right now what is the pain going forward. We don't know, say, migrant workers, are they going to come back? If they go on and stay at their native homes for about 6 months, how acute the distress would be. So a couple of options which the government still thinks are still kind of says are on the table, or on monetization of deficit. So I would like to take you to that particular question, because this is one question which many people ask time and again, that having suspended monetization of deficit, issuing ad hoc treasury bills to RBI and printing currency, do you think, given the extraordinary nature of circumstances today, monetization of deficit for the purpose of, say, 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, when distress is more acute than what it is today, the government is kind of keeping the gunpowder dry?
No, but the government has to do 2 things before it monetizes the deficit. It has to show some energy and capability by paying its bills. Second, it has made a number of announcements about tomorrow. And if those are not implemented, the credibility of government is further jeopardized. Because today, the strike rate of government about announcements about tomorrow, which is less than 20%, will not. Third, the government can still use consoles. Monetization is a last resort. And if a government is weak in its spending, and if it resorts to monetization because distress, as you're saying, is very high, that would be an extremely undesirable set of effects. Extremely undesirable. So I'm going to go with the government's judgment about its own low weak capacity. I'm going to watch how much of tomorrow's present tense, tomorrow's future tense converted to the present tense. And then I can take a call on whether this government is fit to be accorded the privilege of monetizing deficits.